impact on immunity, which is a today's topic. So we welcome you all for this session. And to talk about the topic today, we have a speaker who is a charismatic personality. The speaker for today's session is Mr. Rajesh Tiruvidula. He's a certified sports nutritionist and he's been advisor for the fitness and health. He's born and brought up in Nellore, Andhra Pradesh. He completed his BTech in electricals and electronics engineering. He is sales manager by profession, but a sports nutritionist by passion. He has done a lot of certification courses on this. And he's been a part of a community called Swasthya, which is an integral community where he's helping a lot of people. Around 350 plus people has been benefited from his health and weight loss instructions. And it's a privilege to have him today, who is going to talk about obesity and its impact on immunity. So I hand it over the session to Mr. Rajesh, the speaker of today's session.
Yeah, hi everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mrs. Bharti, for a wonderful introduction. I hope I'm visible and audible. Just give me a thumbs up if everybody can see and hear me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so welcome to the session and good afternoon, each and everybody, for taking your time out and being a part of this session today. And I thank Mrs. Bharti, Mrs. Suchitra, convener of today's session, and Dr. B.A. Vishwanath, Chairman, Abhaypur Aditya Institutions, Bangalore, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this session today and sharing the knowledge with all of you. Just to give a brief introduction about myself, like Bharti was saying, I was born and brought up in Nellore, Andhra Pradesh, and I completed my graduation in electrical and electronics engineering from a college called Koner Lakshmaya College of Engineering in Vijayawada, and that's in the year 2011. So I passed out in the 2011, and I started to work for Toshiba in Hyderabad, and for almost four and a half years I was with Toshiba, part of Toshiba, and then I moved on to Bangalore. It's been 6 years now. I'm staying in Bangalore, and professionally, like I said, I'm a sales person by background, but you must be wondering how come a salesperson and an engineering person be a nutritionist. So I've been a plumpy child, I would say, plumpy child from my birth, and I used to do all sort of things to become fit. In fact, I would say that I started working out, started going to gyms, starting from my 10th standard. But over a period of time, what I realized was that from during my 10th, it all started, and what I observed was that whatever I do, be it workout or I tried several types of diet myself to lose my fat and become fit. But one thing that I observed for myself was that besides losing, whenever I used to work out or go on different types of diet, I used to I used to lose 3 to 4 kgs, but unfortunately, whenever I couldn't make time out for that, immediately I used to rebound, and the rebound used to be more than double sometimes. I used to lose 3 to 4 kgs, but after some time, if I see, it was more than, I see myself, doubling around 8 kgs, 10 kgs. So it was happening like that. Then somewhere I felt something is going wrong, but because whatever I was doing all those days, I felt that it was only giving me a temporary solution, and I was actually looking for a permanent solution that way. So that's where, fortunately, after coming to Bangalore from Hyderabad, I got in connect with a person in particularly the fitness community in Bangalore. So where that person actually inspired me. So he himself, what happened was that he himself has lost around 20 plus kgs, and he was able to sustain at that particular weight. I mean, I was so surprised by looking at that person, and I felt okay. So because I myself tried a lot, and losing 3 to 4 kgs, it has become a very difficult thing for me. And I was so surprised by looking at this person. How come this person can lose 20 kgs, not only losing those 20 kgs, but sustaining that particular weight over the period of time? And this interested me. And fortunately, I got in connect with that fitness community. And later, I myself, under his guidance, I lost around 20 plus kgs, and I was able to maintain this particular weight for the last couple of years. But in this transition, what I observed was that many of my friends, be it the family circle, everybody started asking this question, like, what are you doing? How did you lose so much weight? Then over a period of time, I realized that it is not only with me, but there are so many people within my friend circle, or be it within my family. And what I observed was, it is not only with me, but there are so many people who are actually looking for a long-term solution related to weight loss. And that interested me. And in addition to that, like I was mentioning, this fitness community, what interested me much more was that they were actually supporting the cause of obesity free India. That particularly interested me. uh, because if we see today, majority of the population, especially, they are either overweight or obese. If I have to talk about the statistics, almost 2/3 of the population of India is either overweight or obese. So that's when I started, okay, I should also be doing something about this. And it all that is all how my interest towards nutrition increased. And I got into the field of certification, and I've been helping people to become healthy and lose their weight. So this is just brief about me. uh, and I'll be sharing my screen. Just let me know if everybody can see my screen. Yeah. Can everybody see my screen? Could you please give me a thumbs up or some kind of indication that people are able to see my screen? Right, sure. Thank you. Okay. So once again, welcome each and everybody on this call, being a part of this call today. And let's start. So we will be discussing about obesity and its impact on immunity. So why are we this obesity has been, like I was saying, it has been a major concern for each and everybody, because 2/3 of the population is already either overweight or obese. And many people are, especially with the current scenario wherein now the corona is also has come up recently, and a lot of things happening in the society. So we'll be discussing the following things. We'll be going through what obesity is. And we'll be discussing a brief about what are the trends that has been over the past few years. And we will be discussing about the body composition of a human, and how do I define whether I am healthy or am I fit. So we'll be discussing about certain health indicators as well. And so these, to just give you a brief, these are all the things that we will be discussing today. Okay. Yeah. So can anybody tell me, since we are discussing about obesity, because people have different implications about obesity, and each and everybody has their own perception about what obesity is, how much of weight is obese. So different people have different perceptions about obesity and overweight. So can anybody please share me your view about, if I'm calling somebody an obese person, what does it actually mean? Can anybody share your perspectives? Hello?
Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. We're just trying to resolve the issue. Just be with us for one more minute. We'll resolve the issue and we'll be back, getting back to you.
Yeah, hi. Sorry for the interruption. So, like we were saying, so different people have their own perspective. So, let us see what obesity is actually meant and what it actually does to the body. So, abnormal or excessive body fat accumulation that present a risk to the health. Now, this everybody knows, because if I see a person who is overweight or obese, so this is the first thing that everybody can observe. You know, it is visually seen by each and everybody. And there is different, there is another definition people also give, which means a weight anything higher than a healthy weight. So this also people called as an obesity. Now, what is a healthy weight first? So let us understand before getting into the details. How can I say whether am I in my range, weight range, according is my height and weight matching together or not? Before going to that, let us discuss about the trends. Now, if I see here, see, this is a snapshot that I've collected to the left of the screen. If you can see, this is a snapshot that I collected from WHO website. You know, this has been published on the 1st April 2020 about obesity and overweight. So these are few key facts which WHO has published in their site. Number one is that worldwide obesity has nearly tripled since 1975, right? And if you can see, this all this survey has been presented in 2020, but this all the survey has been done in the year 2016, but the results are published in the year 2020. Now if I see, as per 2016, more than 1.9 billion adults 18 years and older were overweight. Of these, over 650 million were obese. So can you imagine the amount of impact that obesity is having on the society? So almost 190 crore people are either overweight or obese, and of which 650 millions, that is almost 65 crore people, almost nearing to 50% of those population are obese. Now, if it, next point is that 39% of adults aged 18 years and over were overweight in 2016, and 13% were obese. So you can see the impact. Even with the young age itself, at the age of 18 years, people are gaining more and more weight, and slowly over a period of time they are falling for obesity. And most of the world's population live in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than underweight. Especially we have, if I talk about the ratios of India, almost 60% of the people today are obese, and 40% is underweight, I would say, roughly. And you can see that majority of the people, rather than underweight people, are having several health issues because of this overweight and obesity problems. And not only with the adults, if you can see with the children as well, 38 million children under the age of 5 were overweight or obese in 2019. Right? Over 340 million children and adolescents aged 5 to 19 were overweight or obese in 2016. So you can basically see now this is all about 2016. Now it's almost 4 years since 2016 has passed, and I'm sure the figures are only increasing but not decreasing anywhere. Now this is one more study to the right of my screen. If you can see, this is a study by one of the websites wherein they have researched around 4,000 people, especially Indians. 4,000 Indians were researched, and they found out that every 3 out of 4 Indians are overweight. And if you can see, if I'll have to talk about, 73% of the urban Indians are overweight. And if I am taking 2% out of those 2 people, that is almost 50% of them are obese. And 28 to 38 years is the age group wherein, be it men, women, everybody are at the maximum risk of this. So on an average, if they have calculated, they are saying that on an average, Indians need to lose weight to get healthy and need to lose around 11 kgs on an average. So this is the scenario now currently. And this is, I think that this is also increasing day by day as we go. Right, now let us discuss about what body composition, because everybody is worried about how much weight we have, how much am I according to my height. So before going into those details, let us understand what our body is composed of. Now if you can see on the screen, so our total body weight, if I talk about the total body weight, this is totally a composition of 2 things. Number one, it is a combination of adipose tissue, which is the fat in the body, and it is a combination of lean body mass. Right? Now if I talk about adipose tissue, again there are 2 combinations. Now if I talk about the body fat, so there are different components in the fat. The first and the foremost is the subcutaneous fat, which is this is a fat which is right under our skin. And then we have our muscles, and there is a visceral fat, which people basically call as a dangerous fat in the body. Now this is one part, and the second part is a lean body mass. What is a lean body mass consist of? So this contains all others in addition to the adipose tissue. Now it contains the bone mass, it contains the muscle weight, and it contains the other parts. So what does this other mention? These other things can be our organs. We have almost around 11 organ systems in the body, and it also includes our organs, bodily organs, our skin weight. It includes the bodily fluids, and as well as our essential body fats. So this is what basically everybody, each and every human is made up of. Right. Let us understand the health indicators. Now what do I mean by health indicators? Now, like I was mentioning about the healthy weight, so if I have to understand what am I standing for as on date, am I according to my health parameters, am I according to my is my weight according to my height? So these are few questions each and everybody is saying, and the least and the easiest way people generally take is just go on, stand on the weighing machine and see whether am I increasing or am I decreasing. Now these are few of the indicators that everybody can look out for. And this particular the first one what we'll be discussing is about the ideal body weight. What is the ideal body weight? And body mass index, this is one particular thing each and every or majority of the people are aware of. And number 3, we'll be discussing about the waist to hip ratio. Number 4, waist circumference and the body composition as a total. Right? Now this particular ideal body weight, talking about ideal body weight, this particular concept has been introduced in the anthropometric data by Broca's, a scientist. And what does it actually mean, IBW? So he says that this particular scientist, Broca, says that for each and every male, if I have, say for example, I am 157 centimeters. If I take my height, so for a male, he says that IBW is equal to height minus 100. Say if I'm 157 centimeters today, so my ideal weight would be 57 kgs. And for females, it is 10% less of a male IBW. So now it can be calculated in such a way that now if I'm 57, 57 minus 5.7 would be the ideal weight range for ideal body weight for a female. Now, in addition to this, each and everybody is not same. Though a person might be of same height, the weight can vary. And there is also a variation range which is given as per the ideal body weight. If you can see, plus or minus 5 kgs is what this particular parameter indicates us. Now 57 minus 5 or plus 5, I'm fine as per the ideal body weight. Now the second parameter, this each and every majority of the people, like I was saying, everybody of us is aware of, is the next is the body mass index. Now what does body mass index mean? So body mass index, if you can see here, BMI is nothing but a ratio of weight by height meter square, height in meter square. Right now, if I talk about, say for example, I've also considered a example here. If I'm weighing around 165 centimeters, right, that is almost 1.65 meters. Now if you can see, BMI is my height, sorry, weight by height in meter square. So this is how it has been given here, and there is a particular table which represents whether a person is underweight, or is he normal weight, or is he overweight, or is he obese. Now this particular ratio, if I talk about any BMI, that is weight by height square ratio, if it is less than 17.9, so this particular person is considered underweight, right? And 18 to 22.9, this is considered as a normal weight. Now 23 to 24.9, it is overweight, and anything above 25 is considered as obese, right? But the problem with body mass index is that, like we have also seen in the body composition, that it is only a comparison between weight and height. It does not talk about anything other than weight and height. But if you remember the previous slide, in the body composition, whereas our body is composed of a lot of many other things, like there is no consideration of bone weight in this, there is no consideration of body fat, there is no consideration of organ weight in the body. So nothing is, so this is just an indicative thing that, okay, this is just a brief to anybody. But unfortunately, majority, we say that, my BMI is not in the range and I am becoming sick. But this is only an indicative thing. Now, the third indicator what we have for us is the waist to hip ratio. Now, the waist, if I'm talking about waist to hip ratio, if you can see here, everybody has to target for this particular range. If particularly for the males, anything less than 0.95 is a, if somebody is having a waist to hip ratio of less than 9.5, then it means that person is less prone to health risks. And if it is with the females, it is less than 0.86. And now again, even with this waist to hip ratio also, this is another problem here, is that just like a BMI, there is no indication about all the other inclusions in the body. There is no indication of the body fat, what is the muscle weight, what is the bone density. So there is no indication. This is also a rough estimate people can have. And the next one what we have is the waist circumference. Now this is something which we can get a rough, or not rough, I would say it is near to the correct parameters, I would say. Because waist circumference, I'm not considering anybody, because if I see now, this is where majority of the time we have our visceral fat situated, particularly in the abdominal part. Now this actually gives a better perspective compared to that of BMI and waist to hip ratio. Now, as per this waist circumference, the studies show that if somebody, in case of a male, if the waist circumference is less than 90 centimeters, that's 35.5 inch, they are less prone to health risks. And in case of a female, it has to be less than 80 centimeters, right? Now, the last but not the least, and the important of all this is the body composition, which is the body fat. Now, this is all actually we should be focusing on, right? As per this, what body fat says is, if you can see, everybody, if it is a male, the target for fitness levels, it has to be under 15%. This is what each and everybody has to be looking on, rather than the weight that is being shown on the weighing scale. Because weighing scale also, there are several parameters that goes, like, for example, it keeps on changing. Whenever there is a change in the atmospheric pressure, the weight on the machine is changed. So this is one parameter everybody should be focusing on, rather than the weight, right? To give you a brief, this should, for a male it has to be less than 15%, and for a female it has to be under 20%. This is what, like I'm repeating, this is what we should be concentrating on, rather than the weight on the machine. Now I have a question for you. See, I'm just sharing. So we have seen the different cases, like different parameters and the different things that are available for us to determine whether our weight is in accordance to our height or not. Now we have 4 cases here. I've considered an example of a male, male A, male B, male C, and male D. Right now, each and every person is now at a same weight, 62.56, 62.56, and 62.56. And if I see the weight, so the weight of male A is 60, male B is 55, male C is 80, and male D is 80 again. Now let us see the difference. Like, as per you, now you have seen what is the best and what is the best that should be considering. So out of these 4 cases, which of these 4 people do you consider healthy or fit? Okay, so yeah, you can drop your responses over the chat box. Okay, male C. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to share their responses? Exactly. So male C. Why? Because the body fat percentage, if we see here, this is what we'll have to be actually concentrate on. See, if we're talking about the BMI, this is only a relative term to me. And again, there are 2 other parameters. If I have to talk about IBW talks about a different weight. Now, if 22.7 is what I have, and the same person is considered, if as per the BMI, if I see here it is an ideal weight. And if the same person, if I consider as per a different concept, he is considered underweight. Now, this is what we should be focusing on, rather than all the weight. Right. So, so this is the this is what we are all here for today, to understand what is causing the overweight and obesity. Now, this is something which I found interesting, and I just thought it would be a good point in my slide. Now, everybody, when I look at everybody, right, this is common thing. Can anybody share your views? What is the role of fat in the body? What is it for in the body? What is it there for? Can you please share your answers? Okay, reserve store of energy. Great. Right. So, like energy again, right? Correct. Exactly. Mr. Saurav has got it right. This actually, a fat is a reserve store of energy for the body. Like, just like a car or a bike has a reserve fuel for it, it is similar, like a reserve fuel to the body, right? Fat is nothing but a potential energy, meaning like capable of becoming energy but it is not actual energy. It is a stored or reserved form of energy what we all have. Now, why does the body store energy at the first place? Let us see it. Right, this now fat as a form of form to the body is survival. Right, energy is survival to the body. Ultimately to the body, whatever the threat it is we are facing, anything it might be, ultimately to the body, the first and foremost thing that comes to body is its survival. So if the survival of this body is threatened in any way, the body will hold on to this particular energy, especially in the form of fat. Now, why does body do? It is an attempt by the body to keep us alive and survive. And this is the one thing, majority of us have gone wrong here. And whenever we feel that, if many of the cases, I also come across people, when people say, okay, I'm putting on weight, I'm worried about my health. Now, in the first case, we need to understand that weight gain is not a symptom. It is not the cause actually. So it is an imbalance. It is just an indication that our body is giving us, saying that there is an imbalance that is going on inside the body, and because of which the weight gain is shown up on the outside of the body. And this is very much crucial to understand, because unless we become healthy for the first, this has to be the goal of everybody, I would say. If I'm saying one takeaway from this session, this would be the one. You focus on getting healthy first, so that weight loss becomes a byproduct for everybody. Yeah. So now let us understand this. Now, you can see different body shapes that I've shared here. This majority of the people have different body shapes. Now, everybody, people would have heard about, there are different body shapes like apple shape or a pear shape. First of all, have you ever wondered why, fat is fat? It can be stored anywhere in the body, right? Now, in such scenarios, can anybody tell me why different people have different shapes, body shapes? Is there any particular reason you feel that people will have a different body shape? Right. So let's go ahead. See here what we have. Yeah, I have some response. Depends on variety of reasons. Correct. So the first and foremost reason I would say is, now we have several hormones in the body, right? Our body is composed of around 600 hormones, and each and every hormone in the body has its own unique function, right? Certain hormones, they are useful for fat burning. Certain hormones are responsible for metabolism. Certain hormones are responsible for hair growth. Certain hormones are responsible for finger growth, sleep. Certain hormones are responsible for controlling the hunger. So we have so many hormones, and each and every hormone has its own unique function to do in the body. Would be hereditary. Okay, that's a good one, right? Now, what now of all these hormones, there are certain hormones which have the purpose of directing where the fat has to be stored in the body, right? Now, this particular function, out of all the 600, we have certain hormones. I'll be discussing what hormones will be causing these different shapes and what is going wrong inside the body in the next slides. And now this is the major reason. So each and every hormone, out of which there are certain hormones which direct these things, which cause a different body shape, and it is the distortion in this function that causes different body shapes. Okay. Now, like I was saying, different body shapes are the results of this specific hormonal imbalance. Now, this is what everybody has to understand. Like I was saying in the previous slide, that an imbalance in the inside is being shown up on the outside. So this is the one imbalance that basically happens with everybody. Now, anybody have seen somebody like this in your social circle, or maybe in your friends, or maybe in your family? Anybody have seen people like this? Initial days they were so thin, and as we go down the lane over a period of time, they form a belly. They start gaining belly, and particularly in the abdominal portion. So as a sagging belly, we say. Sagging belly, this is one condition. What happens here is because this, as a sagging belly, this is something particularly related to the imbalance of adrenal hormone. Now, adrenal hormones, especially the cortisol. Now, cortisol as a hormone has numerous functions it has to do in the body, and one of the major functions that cortisol has to do in the body is stress management. Now, this stress management is a question that everybody has to ask for themselves. Now, particularly if I have to say or talk about the current scenario, or be it in the 21st century, now we are in the 21st century, and each and everybody has their own set of problems. Be it be it work wise. If I go to work, there are several deadlines to finish. There are several, as you are, many of you are professors and assistant professor here. There are examinations coming up, preparing question papers, taking out admissions, a lot of stuff. And in addition to the work life, we also have our personal life, right? Personal life, there could be financial issues, there could be family issues, there could be relational issues, whatnot. Every day we are overwhelmed with one or the other issue, and the stress levels are always going high. Now, what happens when these stress levels are going high is that cortisol as a hormone, the major work it has to do in the body is to control the stress in this body. Now, each and every day when the stress is going on increasing, so it has to be in the body, it will be secreted in higher amounts. As far as this cortisol is secreted in the nominal range, it is actually good to the body. But because of the stress levels that each and everybody is having, the cortisol starts to be producing in more amounts, and the people over a period of time starts to form this, and again, stress to the body is a form of threat, and that is the reason people start gaining weight, right? This is one. And this is another basic thing, especially which many of you would have observed within our social or the family circles. And this particular body shape, people would have observed majorly in the women especially. Now, what happens here in this particular saddleback structure, this is related to the imbalance of estrogen. Now, estrogen, as it is a female dominant hormone, though it is present in very minute amounts in a male body. Now, what happens in case of estrogen imbalance in the body is that initial days, the normal women, if you talk about, if you can see the normal image to the left of the screen, so the lady would be completely lean. Now, as we go and there are several issues coming up, be it stress or be it the lifestyle issues. Many factors come up here. Now, when there is an imbalance in the estrogen hormone, so this, what we observed is that the woman starts to gain weight in the lower parts of the body, especially below the abdomen, lower abdomen. It can be lower abdomen, or it can be at the hips, it can be in the thighs, all basically in the lower body parts. Now, as we continue with this process, it also happens that women basically start to gain in the upper parts of the body as we go over the period of time. Right, this is one more common body shape people generally observe. And people basically, in this case, what happens is not only at the abdomen level, but each and every part of the body is filled up with fat. Now, basically, if I have to say, person basically looks plumpy. Here it is. And if you can see the difference between stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, the entire body is getting filled up with fat. This basically is related with our metabolism issues. And if somebody is having a sluggish thyroid, this basically happens. This is a metabolic issue, I would say. Just please give me a moment, guys. I think screen is stuck. Yeah, great. And this is one more what we generally observe, especially in case of male people. So all the body would be lean, and especially people start gaining abdominal weight. and that too particularly if you can see there, it is more like a pot belly. You can imagine this like this, wherein you have a balloon, and if I blow air into the balloon, how would it bloat? It's more, it will bloat in such a way, in such a fashion. This particularly is observed dominantly in male, and this is related with fatty liver. If somebody is having a fatty liver issue, maybe don't be panicked. I'm not saying that each and everybody will have a fatty liver, and this is just an indication that our body is giving that if we leave this thing over a period of time, it will form a fatty liver. So these are four cases generally that are observed between all the people. Now, now we have a general idea like what is happening inside the body, why we are gaining weight, and what are the different body shapes that we have gone through. Now, let us understand, what is the impact of obesity on immunity system. Now, why are we talking about linking between obesity and immunity? The first and foremost thing that comes to obesity is our fat cell. Now, as we have already seen in the first screen that our body is composed of adipose tissue and lean body mass, right? Now, this adipose tissue is nothing but, recently people have started to recognize this adipose tissue in the body as an endocrine organ, and it has several functions to do in the body. So unlike different hormones that are being secreted in the body, adipose tissue also secretes certain hormones called adipokines. And one of the first adipokines I would be discussing today is with regards to leptin. And leptin is one of the adipokines that has been first discovered out of all the adipokines. And why? See, because talking about leptin has certain roles in the body, and this leptin is actually secreted by the fat cell in the body, right? What happens with leptin is that you can see that it is responsible for the metabolism, energy metabolism, how our metabolism is being controlled in the body. And number two, the major other role it has is with the metabolism and the immune system interplay, right? Now, see, this leptin, people also called it as a satiety hormone or the starvation hormone. Why it does is because, generally nowadays, if we see, it is a common thing for each and everybody that, we wake up in the morning, we have our breakfast or tea or coffee or something. Say for example, say I woke up in the morning, I had a tea. There are people where, they will not go further without a coffee or a tea, right? And then we have our breakfast around say 9 or 10 in the morning, and certain people have a habit of snack again, without which people cannot go. And then again comes lunch, then again comes certain snacks, and then again comes dinner. Now, majority of the times, have you ever observed that certain times it happens to me also that whenever I wake up, oh my god, it is 9 o'clock, I need to eat, right? Or oh my god, it's already 1 or 2, I'll feel hungry, I have to eat. Or I did not have anything from the morning, I'll feel sick, I need to eat, it's already time. But basically what we are basically doing is, now, to majority of the people, or to everybody, I would say rather, hunger has become a behavioral thing. But actually hunger is not behavioral, it is biological. It is meant to be, our body is the thing that has to say us whether I need more food or I have enough. But practically, the lifestyle that we have today, we are going by our behaviors. We are saying a time, we have put up a time like morning, afternoon, lunch. This is totally, I would say, we are doing havoc to the body. We are not letting our body do its own function properly. Right? Now, what does leptin do? So if you can see to the left of the screen, this is a basic function of a leptin. Now, like I said, this leptin is secreted by the adipose tissue, our fat cells. Now, when our fat cells secrete this leptin hormone, what happens? This is an indication, there is a feedback loop that goes to the brain, especially to the hypothalamus in the brain. And what it basically is, this leptin goes to the brain and says that, I have enough fat stored in the body, and I don't need much more energy, exogenous energy. I can survive on it. Now, whenever this indication goes to the brain, brain start to give an indication to another hormone which is produced by the stomach, which is ghrelin. Now, ghrelin is another hormone which causes hunger in the body. Now, as you can see this loop, like, a fat cell is secreting the leptin. There is an increased fat storage and the leptin has been produced, and there is an increased leptin release, and this goes to the brain and triggers the brain activity. And this is where this is basically an indication to the brain that, my energy reserves are full. I don't need any more energy. And this is when the brain starts to give an indication to the other hormone, ghrelin, in the stomach, saying that, okay, stop this hunger. And what it does is basically it will decrease the food intake and weight loss, right? Until unless I am using my energy inside, there is no point in giving it again. So this is the basic cycle, what has to happen inside the body, right? To the right, what if you can see, these are always interrelated. Now, if there is an increase in the leptin, now say if I'm hungry, now if you can see that the ghrelin in the stomach is being increased, causing a hunger to the body. Now, this is when people are supposed to be eating, and at the same time, when ghrelin is high, leptin is low. And it is reverse in case of satiety, right? If I am low on energy levels, right? This is what happens. And if I'm high on energy, leptin is high and the ghrelin is low. That is, I don't have hunger. But is it practically happening in our daily lives? So that is one question each of us has to think about for ourselves, because we are not letting our body to feel the hunger at all. We are just feeding because time has come, I have not eaten, I have to eat something. Rather than a biological thing, hunger have become a behavioral thing to each and everybody now. Now, what happens now? Why are we discussing about leptin so much, right? Now, if you can see the leptin, this particular hormone leptin has receptors throughout our body. Throughout the immune system, we have our leptin receptors being placed in the body. It regulates our innate responses, also our adaptive responses in the immune systems. Now, this is where you can see how leptin is linked to all the immune system. So please give me a moment, guys. I'll have some water. Now, yeah. So if you can see here, so we have the innate immunity system, what we have by birth, and the adaptive immunity system, where if you can see the entire immune system has the receptors for leptin. Be it, the granulocytes are linked with leptin, the macrophages are linked with leptin, the killer cells are linked with leptin, and the dendritic cells. Basically, the entire innate immunity system is linked with a leptin response. As well as, in addition to that, the T cells and the beta cells in the body are also linked and very responsive to the leptin, right? So why we are talking about leptin is here. See, so like we understood what leptin is, and we understood what are the basic functions of leptin, and what is it that leptin has to do in the body. Right now, if you can see here, now the basic problem that people are facing today is that as we go on increasing the fat in the body, what happens is more the fat cells in the body, more the leptin production, because there is enough fat in the body, because it has to go and trigger the brain that saying that, okay, my body energy reserves are full and I don't need any extra energy to the body. Now, because of which, since we have so much fat in the body, now as the fat goes on increasing, more and more amounts of leptin starts to be secreted by the body, especially the adipose tissue. Now, what happens when this happens is that, you know, anything of too much, is harmful to the body, right? So what happens is the hypothalamus and the particular receptors in the body become insensitive to it. Now, if you can see here, to the right of my screen, the first image, right? So this has to be the function of basic leptin. Now, the brain is receiving enough amount of leptin, right? And the leptin has given the trigger to the brain saying that I have enough energy reserves in the body. Now the brain signals, okay, I have enough energy in the body and I don't need energy and I'll spend energy. This is the basic function that brain will do once it receives leptin. Now what happens over a period of time is that now, since there is so much leptin that is being secreted by the body, over a period of time, our brain cells and the immune system, all the receptors what we have on the immune system become sensitive to it, become insensitive. Now if you can see the last image, though the leptin is there in the body, now my cells are not in a position to recognize them. This you can actually, now this is what happens now, right? Now there is enough leptin in the body and my brain is not detecting enough leptin production, and again I'm and brain thinks that, okay, there is no enough energy, and I'll increase the ghrelin hormone, which causes much more hunger, and I'm always hungry. This is more or less, many of you must be interrelating to this, like this is more like a insulin resistivity as well. Like what happens in case of insulin resistivity also, this is the same case. Like we have enough insulin in the body, but our cells are no more in a position to accept insulin. That is where people generally turn type 2 diabetic, or people, all sort of diabetes issue starts with the people. And it is the same way with leptin as well. And this is one thing that people has to keep in mind, that it can also happen with leptin in the body, right? And so this is one, like Ms. Bharti was also introducing as at the introduction, this is a Swasthya community. I am an integral part of this community, and this community is a Bangalore based community wherein we have a lot of health and fitness enthusiasts who are actually driving this community. And this particular community has been set up to help people, like I was saying, now obesity is the #1 cause, or maybe the issue each and everybody is facing in the current scenarios. And to overcome this particular community has been set up with the cause of obesity free nation. And we like I was saying, like Ms. Bharti also mentioned, as a community we were able to help almost more than 350 plus individuals become healthy and lose their weight. And this is a search page for the FB Swasthya community. You can just make a note of it, and if anybody would be interested, just go and have a look at the community page. And these are few of the, like I was saying, we have helped so many people become healthy and lose weight. Like, and why this is, I'm repeating this again, weight gain is not a symptom. It is just a symptom, but not the cause. People have to understand that it is the imbalance that is happening in the body that is causing the weight gain. And unless we make healthy first, we have to become healthy to lose this weight. These are few of the people who have been benefited by our community. And this is my personal page. Now Swasthya as a community, you can only have a look at the page, but there is no interaction happening through the page. And that is why I've actually come up with this page, O2F, Obese to Fit, so that if anybody would like to interact with us post this session, you can make a note of this page link and people can interact over the page. Now, to end this session with, I would like to share certain insights from my end. How can I, how can I actually become healthy? A few tips from my end would be the first thing. Each and everybody, I'll be sharing the basic things, and each and everybody, the first and foremost I would be saying is try to have a nutrient dense food. Like nutrient dense food, what do I mean by a nutrient? Let us understand a nutrient first. To nutrient is basically a substance which has to provide energy and structure to the body. Now this structure part is what majority of us miss. Majority of the times what we do is we eat for energy, but we are not even concerned about, are we giving proper structure to the body? Now my body, each and everybody's body is made up of a cell, and the cell is a functional and structural unit of the body. But what about the cellular structure? Leave about, if I'm talking about fitness, leave about the muscle building and all, but what about the basic cell structure? Am I giving enough raw material for my cell to survive, so that I can, as an organism, I am surviving? So that is where this part, it should be, please take care, while choosing what you eat. Whenever you choose a food, ask these particular questions yourself, right? Every time you put something in your mouth, ask yourself the following questions, right? Will this substance add more life, or will it reduce my health? These two things keep asking yourself whenever you are eating something. And it has to, not only the food that we are eating not only has to provide energy, but it also should help in the cellular repair as well. Daily exercise, this is one thing I would recommend, because as a person, as a pharma people, I'm sure that everybody would be aware of this hyperplasia phase in the phase in each and everybody. So till the age of 18 to 21, majority of the cells are multiplying, and it is after 21 actually, there is no multiplication in the cell, right? And at the age of, when each and everybody reach the age of 25, that is when all the cellular multiplication stops in the body, and there is no more multiplication. Whatever the cells that I've developed till then, that's it. Either, and we only can do two things about it: either we can increase the size of cell, or we can decrease it. That is, either we can do hypertrophy, or we can cause atrophy. And people, we also have this perception, right? We are growing old, and people say, above 35 or above 40 I grow old. But basically, if I have to talk about degeneration, from the since the age of 25, there is no cellular multiplication, and degeneration actually starts at age 25. And it is very much essential that we keep exercising daily and improving our strength and stamina, right? And get proper sleep, so that we are giving enough time for the body to get repaired, right? And so the last one, we have come to the end of session, and before leaving the session, I would ask you, if there are something that you have learned from the session, I would keep these 3 points. First one, understand that weight gain is a symptom, not the cause. An imbalance on the inside is showing on the outside. And number 2, for you to be losing weight, first you have to become healthy. And number 3 is that focus on fat loss instead of weight loss. Don't go by the weight that is shown on the weighing scales. Thank you. This is all I have to share from my end. You have been a very good audience, and I hope I've added value to each and everybody on this call. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Questions? If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box so that I can read to the